Oh, anyway, did you hear what I said about Rick and Morty today?
Yeah. About the guy was accused of aku tak ingat dia. Tapi something like that. So I guess there won't be any more new season lah.
They're trying to replace the guy. As far as I know, that's what's happening again. Kata nak replace the guy and then the voice actor, like apa ni, someone who can mirror his voice or something.
Okay.
Hire new writers. Because it's a popular show, cash cow at its peak. So saya nak akan naik go, but everybody's predicting that it will be the show will decline lah. Will start to decline at the beginning of the end lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since a lot of big actor was involved kan. So this is aku baru tengok itu what Critical Thinker did the interview on apa, can't remember what podcast it was. Modern Minds, I think. A podcast called Modern Minds. So it's talking about Critical Thinker was being interviewed by this guy. So the topic was why do modern movies suck? And they got into this Rick and Morty punya whole ordeal lah. And he was saying the same thing like this is he's saying that this is at the beginning of the end after this compromise. The quality is going to go down and he said this is like the second coming of the cancel culture of the Me Too movement, and the second coming. The first coming was Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and all those, Woody Allen and all those guys. So this is like the second coming of cancel culture. And he cited a few other recent cancel people who were cancelled. Only this time was these are like really like memang like pro-liberal and all. Supposedly social justice people. They tengok dia orang pula kena cancel. So it's laughing about it. It kind of ate them back. Exactly. That's the thing lah. So aku bukan macam kau lah. I'm not a fan of Rick and Morty, but even I heard about it again when it happened first time.
Yeah.
So kalau kau macam kau lagi ada status lah.
Tapi itulah, always benda yang macam tengah nak enjoy and then like sound like macam suddenly you cut off completely kan. Macam House of Cards lah. Suddenly Kevin Spacey is no longer there. Macam dia pun tak terlalu bad lah. His wife sebagai president dan tak.
Yeah, exactly.
They have the same.
The decline was very sharp lah tu. That's quite surprising again. Very, very sharp decline. Quality and the message that was trying to portray, all those things. Yeah. Exactly. So, but that's the thing lah. I mean, and ever since then, Netflix pun dah quality pun dah makin kurang. All those things that they doing very apparent and dah memang apparent.
Tapi dia orang dah ni kan backing off from dia orang punya yang no password sharing punya ni.
Supposed to be lah launch tapi they still tak jadi nak buat implement.
Yalah, dia tak jadi nak implement yang no password sharing tu kan.
On top of that, they reduce the price in some countries except for Malaysia. Allah. That's a funny thing.
Nama Malaysia tak reduce ke ataupun naik ke?
Malaysia tak reduce. Malaysia tak reduce, remain. So they reduced in a few countries except Malaysia, Vietnam and India. It's ready yesterday. Yesterday ke 2 days back. Ke Indonesia. Indonesia ke India? I can't remember.
I got some notice about new price for ni, tapi I didn't really pay attention sangat because I just, I'm just going to pay whatever. So how you been? Did you see the budget punya ni?
No, I didn't. What was the main takeaway?
I didn't catch the whole thing, but there was one point where Anwar was saying that he hears the lamentation of people that say, B40 got their benefits and everything, but what about the M40 that is, just left behind, basically? So for the M40 too, we get a tax cut. So personal tax will be reduced. Betul tak? Lepas tu, to support all of the benefits and all the tax cut semua, T20 tu dia punya tax will be increased.
What?
So I'm pretty sure the T20 is like, man, why do I have to pay for all of you guys?
Well, that's how it works lah, of course with distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to feel sorry for rich people.
Because the wealth gap dah memang Malaysia punya ni. Malaysia punya index apa ni? There was an index I read a few years ago tau ni. It's about it's like the dissatisfaction with social dissatisfaction or something. I can't remember actually. You'll find it back. So it's about how like it's like a gauge, like the gauge kan, what kind of the dissatisfaction between the people, and it measures based on status and wealth gap. And Malaysia was actually number one now.
No, number one is dissatisfaction. Kenapa in wealth gap?
Bukan right? It's not just there. That's the thing, I can't remember what is it called. I remember this NI right at the end. It's an index basically based on a sociological punya survey. And one of the variables is that you can measure status, can measure like wealth gap, things like that lah. So based on people's punya feedback lah kan, that they surveyed. So because Malaysia ni is one of the few countries yang still ada all this datuk lah, Tan Sri and all that. And then there's actually a wealth gap and all that. There's a status punya ni datuk. So it's because of that created this. We are the only country yang over 100 tau kita punya index. So compared to other countries like 30, 40, paling tinggi pun 60, which was Indonesia ke China, I can't remember lah. So Malaysia was 100 plus. The only country 100 plus. I mean, they have countries juga macam Indonesia and all those memang wealth gap memang tinggi. There's no title tau. You know, even
bangsawan.
There's no, Indonesia ada datuk ke Tan Sri ke and all that. Even in Britain they have the sirs and lords and dames and all that. That was based on conservatorship atau title given by the Queen. And itu memang betul-betul selective lah based on the achievement, bukan je beli title. Macam Malaysia ni, you can actually buy. It's no longer something that is awarded for being special kan. It's not easy macam dapat sir ke, bukan senang. You have to be distinguished in how many years of service. And then there's a level, ada OBE, CBE, baru naik code, things like that. In Malaysia tu Datuk. Yalah, even Datuk pun dah memang makin tinggi. and then Dato' Sri Tan Sri and then Tone and all that kan. But that's the thing lah. I can research and think forward to you guys. Yeah, exactly. I thought I was kind of surprised when I found out that Malaysia is the highest in the world kan. But at the same time, aku pun rasa there's this concept of even back to what Shasti. Yeah. Anyway, we're still talking about contentment, happiness, and but supposed to be one person is talking, the other one asking questions. So
yeah.
Never mind. Since only two of us kan, so it's okay lah.
Tapi that is part of the content versus happiness lah, boy. Content versus happiness. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I
how
think
happy should be with the one gap.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, I remember what Shasti was saying about, one of the reasons why you like living in US is because the US is what you make of it. And about 12 years ago, I realized it's the same thing about Malaysia though. It's the same thing. I think anywhere you go is something. Because one of the things, advantages of doing sales, I had this thought for a long time today, kind of, because I had a meeting today with a client and kind of triggered balik again. One of the perks of being able to do sales is that I meet all kinds of people from all walks of life in Malaysia. Tak kisahlah you are Chinese, Indian, you're Christian, you're Muslim, you're a Mama or Bangladeshi or Myanmar, Nepalese. I've talked to all of them. They all pernah jadi my customers at one point. Laki ke perempuan, tua ke muda and all that. And every time I talk to Bangladeshis, they say the same thing now. Why they migrated to Malaysia? Because Malaysia has so many activities. Malaysia is what you make of it. And all the people yang Bangladesh cakap ni semua business people lah. Yang contractors, ada yang import workers, ada yang ada kilang sendiri, ada yang export baju. All that. The richer lah than some people yang lepak tepi jalan, so-called Malays, orang tanah airku, who decide to do nothing but complain. Yeah. So and they're grateful and they become successful, they millionaires kan. Because dia kata Malaysia ni banyak opportunity and that's why it's how you use it. Dia kata, this is one guy cakap lah kan. There's a lot of opportunities. Kalau tak buat apa-apa memang tak dapat apa-apa. If you sit and complain, you harap for your government to help you out, reach out a hand, then you won't get anything. You won't get anything lah. But macam this guy was cakap, he was in Malaysia for 7 years. 7 years dia belajar the tricks and trade, he saved money and all that. And then he learned the trick macam mana nak buat ni waktu from his boss, and then he started his own business. Within 3 years he was successful. So somebody tengok, this guy baru masuk 10 years in Malaysia jadi kaya. And then dia kata, Bangla, these foreigners are taking our jobs, these foreigners are, mesti buat benda tak illegal lah, benda lah, do something yang tak bagus lah, and all that. Because in 10 years dia dah make it. Padahal, but the thing is that's not the truth. It is dia memang had the intention of being successful and he planned it. Rather than you duk kerja dengan orang and then lepak, you don't have aspirations to naik pangkat ke, naik gaji ke, you've been doing the same thing whereby your skill is not being harnessed or being developed. Goes back to the dilemma tau. Kalau we're talking about what I see is happening in Malaysia ni, the dilemma. It's true, we have Lala Move and all this food pandang and Grab food and Grab car and all that kan. And it's true that because I take a lot of this, use a lot of this service, and I take a lot of this service. And it's true that when I talk to all these drivers, a lot of them memang berhenti kerja and then they do that and they say they're happy or they like the fact that you can work on your own. Kalau kita punya masa, kalau kata tak sihat ke, or they have something to do, they can just take off. Apa yang nak report to anybody. But that is a short-term solution tau.
Yeah.
It's a short-term solution because in 5 to 7 years, you keep doing that thing, one day you're gonna realize what the heck did happen in 5-7 years. I didn't develop any skills. I didn't have any specialty. Driving a car, right, motorcycle is not a specialty. Even a monkey can do that. So when they decide, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm getting old. My pay pun macam sama je, I try to work hard in the sun and all, tapi tak dapat gaji. Okay. They have a macam consciousness ataupun lightning moment. Okay, let's try to get out into the job market balik. And the problem is, by that time it's very hard for them to find a job ataupun get opportunities. Because like I said, they didn't develop any skills in those 7 years. That makes them valuable, of high value. So maybe they'll get a job, tapi it's very low paying job ataupun low, they start from the bottom balik. Exactly. For example, katalah the best one they can do is what? Kerja jadi bus driver ke, example kan. Or even lorry driver. But then, that takes a lot compared to other lorry drivers yang in that 5-7 years dah harness their skill in lorry driving. Dia baru nak start. So, the thing is, for now, everybody's like bangga, all these opportunities there's no scarcity of jobs if you're looking. But I'm telling you, 5 to 7 years is going to be a big problem. Especially the fact that yang ambil these jobs are people in their late 20s, early 30s. By the time, imagine like in their late 30s ataupun their 40s, baru time tu dia nak start to get serious about having a job and whatnot. By the time dah umur dah berapa, people will not be looking for those kind of people. They're working for people on 40s and they're expert, people who can managers, who can, get the work done in a fraction of the second as compared to someone who doesn't have experience. So why would they want to hire you? So this goes back to our topic lah. This cycle of discontentment akan continue lah. And they will have this, I've been working for 15 years, tapi macam ni juga my life. Sama je, and they say, so okay, government tak tolong, government didn't help me. Whereas that Bangla, who's been working that 15 years, dah ada 3 rumah dah, he has his own hotel. So you're just, sitting there at a low wage and with no special skills. People don't find you of value because you yourself can create that kind of situation for yourself. I mean,
that's one of those things. That's one of those things that was quite interesting. That I heard just now in the budget is that there was an item about retraining. About the government actively want people to develop their skills lah and their punya marketability. Aku tak apa-apa ingat siapa itu. Tapi
but that kind of issue, masalahnya, I mean that kind of initiative, the problem is people don't get tau.
People don't apply for it.
Don't apply for it and they don't understand the value that it has. Orang nak ni je, people want, okay, I want handouts now, I want money now, I want to withdraw from my APF. There's this kind of thing yang orang nak. They want money now. Dia nak duit sekarang sebab dia fikir dia susah. People are not willing to invest now to get the returns later. And it's always going to be like that. It's a shame lah, tapi but that's what I think about that. That's why it's a bit hard to change that mindset, nak get the ball rolling. On that.
Itu one of the things yang macam you're talking about people want money now as compared to investing and to get it later and semua kan. Because one of the things that Anwar mentioned is that kerajaan akan the government will give 500 ringgit, put 500 ringgit into the KWSP of people who is, I think, 40 to 50 years old that have less than 10,000 ringgit in their KWSP savings.
Hmm.
So the government is going to put in 500 ringgit into that, so that they can grow, and hopefully it'll be quite significant by the time they retire kan.
Withdraw.
Because like if you were 40 years old and you get it, that means it's another 15 years lah for that 500 ringgit to grow into, I don't know, maybe at least a few thousand. Something kan. But
Yeah.
But then I saw there was a few YouTube
Comments.
videos of Malaysians yang complain about sebab they want to withdraw the KWSP kan? We don't want for the government to put in 500 ringgit. You can't even use that 500 ringgit. You can't withdraw it. We want to be able to withdraw our own money for to be used now to pay for our debt, pay for to start businesses and all. Okay.
That was expected. Itu yang ada Perikatan Nasional punya promise. On how they wanted to attract voters tu. Kan Muhyiddin was promising that PN naik, by raya ni boleh withdraw money that they did last year lah. But again, it goes back to short term je semuanya ni, all this.
Yep.
Exactly, because these short term solutions, yes, you get now, tapi in 10 years time, you will still be miserable. In 20 years time, your son or kids, your daughter will be miserable pula.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to take
I can't imagine if you are like already 40 years old, 45 years old, and your KWSP is less than 1,000 for you to retire in another 15 tahun lagi lah.
Yeah, exactly.
Memang not enough lah. You can withdraw and then probably live on it for probably no more than 2-3 years.
But that's the thing though. If people realize that, that's why they're taking actions now. Okay, shit, kata, now got less than 10,000. Okay, 15 years time, got calculation, probably I have about 60,000-70,000. So it's like, okay, then I gotta do something now so that I will have money and I won't harapkan KWSP. That's the kind of thing you can educate. Instead of saying, okay, tak apa, I'm going to wait for, tak apa, I just do whatever I do now, so that in 15 years, I'm going to get that money. Exactly. So then when I get that money, in 2 months, habis. And then they go back to, government ni lah. Nasib aku lah macam ni. My life is so miserable. Apa hidup aku susah. And all that. The thing is, that's the pattern tau. But I don't know if you know about this. Back in the 80s, Margaret Thatcher, they shut down the mines in UK. That's why UK went through bad economic times. It was famous, that's why it's called the Iron Lady. So the mining punya controversy ni, it reverberates until now. And Brexit is actually kind of a direct link of that. From the 80s, that 30 years ago punya. And all this right wing in the UK pun is a direct result of that also. Exactly, of that. Because they were laid off, all these miners, and then they were laid off. These people memang tak ada kerja kan. And then what happened was they were skilled only in mining je. Dia punya skill je memang buat mining. Minerals and all that. I can't remember what kind of minerals or resources they were mining. Yeah. So what happened? Bila mine tutup, a lot of them became jobless lah.
Yeah.
Because that was like the town punya economy. So and then tutup, so they became jobless. They couldn't do, kalau kerja pun kerja biasa je, really, really menial jobs like that. And a lot of them became depressed. Because of that, they found themselves become worthless. And that depression carried on to the generation now. So their kids saw that their parents were like that. Oh, my dad he put so less value on himself. He became depressed, but he was 1 minute he was doing something being worthwhile, and then suddenly he just macam kena let go just like that. And it carried on lah. And it carried on generation. Dia tengok family, papa ada depressed, family susah and all that. And they grow up with that kind of mindset.
Yes.
Like victimization punya mindset.
And
they become like anti-government and all this. And then at the same time, they tengok kenapa banyak foreigners coming into the country in the 80s too. And the foreigners pula jadi berjaya. It's Pakistanis and Bangladeshis. The influx in the 80s kan. And they became successful, jadi engineers, they became doctors and all that. So they have this concept, these people came to our country and took the jobs away from us. They got kenapa all these jobs are taken by these foreigners and when he himself and his family also susah cari kerja. The Indians and the Bangladeshi, Pakistan came to this country. They could get high-paying jobs and corporate work or whatever, lawyers and doctors. Again, it goes back to that lah cakap kan. If you think just because you ran out of luck the things change, there's an opportunity to start something new ataupun plan to do something about it instead of just moping around and complaining and being anti-government and just complain, bitch, and do nothing about it. And it will continue lah. Sama lah. And it's a big problem in UK actually. No. And I mean, that's one of the reasons. I mean, and in the US, it started to happen like 15 years ago. Because of this diversity and all that. That's why the white people susah nak cari kerja because all the affirmative action and all the quotas they bagi started to reduce the number of white people, especially men, in workplace. And it became effective then pula, 15 years ago. And then because of that, Trump is the only person who berani cakap this is what's happening. And I'm on your side, patutnya it should be fair lah, because nobody's fighting for your rights. Just because there's diversity and inclusivity whatnot in workplace, something doesn't mean you should be marginalized. So that's why Trump became so popular with the right wing and all that, and because he spoke for the common people. Exactly. So and like I said, even Malaysia pun nanti eventually pun jadi macam tu lah. That's what I see. I mean, it has happened before like that. True. Tapi with this lately ni aku perasan, it's going to become worse. Because I had a conversation with the Grab driver. Dia jadi Grab like 3 years lah. He was like early 30s. I was talking about dia dulu buat macam-macam, dia buat business, side business and all that. None of it came through. That's why he became a Grab driver. And then I asked him lah, so where do you see your future kan? Dia kata, memang nak venture something, nak make money, nak jadi kaya and all that lah. But okay. I asked him, what did you do the last 3 years? I said, did you do anything? Try to learn a new skill? Dia kata, tak ada. And then I asked him, what's your plan in the next 5 years? For now, dia just tak fikir sangat, just nak bawa Grab je, make money. I told him, okay, let me ask you, if katalah you still buat ni for the next 5 years, okay, what skill are you going to develop? And then he thought about it. Mungkin dapat cakap dengan orang lah, because the kind of customers that you meet, maybe his communication skill can improve. I said, okay, well, what else? I said, maybe you know route maps around KL or whatever because you travel, but that's not a skill. Dah ada GPS and Waze and whatnot, okay. And then I said, what else? I thought maybe driving skill improve, but then everybody knows how to drive. That's not a special gift. And then he thought about it, I kata, and he said, entahlah. Well, again, I said to him, you know what? Here's the thing, though. Imagine, katalah, one day you're gonna, I asked her, you married? Kata, you got kids? Yeah, I got one kid. Kata, kan. 4 years old. And a wife. So you can imagine one day, you find out, okay, nak rangkul family, tak ikut work. You decide to go for a job. Now, let me ask you, what kind of company can hire you with the skills that you dah ada dalam 5 years ni? And he thought about it. Then he was stumped. I said, that's the thing, though, because most people don't realize the opportunity that you have with time is not about just making money. It's about making yourself valuable so that you might not have money now, but in future, you are going to be so valuable that people will pay you money to use your service ataupun the skills or knowledge that you have. And I said to him, because that's the reason why I say that is because that's what happened to me. I said that memang I went in sales is tough. There were times memang aku tak buat duit because I was doing commission kan. And lots of times I didn't make money. Tapi those hard times I went through, those really, really suffering, all those letdowns and rejects and hardship that I went through. It satu, strengthened my character. Number two is strengthened my resolve and persistence. It taught me a lot. And it became a skill and knowledge that I could use to make money for other people and myself. If I know how to make money for other people, wouldn't people want to hire me because of that? I said, yeah. I said, that's it. So if you want to become valuable, you have to know how to make money. So if you know how to make money, then you got confident you akan dapat dua kerja. Either you make money for yourself or you learn how to make money for others. Either way, you still gonna make money. And you can make money and you're gonna make a lot of money either way. The only difference is that you're gonna decide. If you work for yourself, ada punya pros and cons. If you work for others, pun ada pros and cons. Which one is the one path that you're willing to go? My case, I've been through both, and I tell you, there's no easy. Kerja kita when you are the boss pun, it's hard. When you work with others pun, it's hard. But you have to choose which one is more berbaloi. So that's the thing lah kan. And for me, my choice isn't about, I guess it comes down to happiness and contentment lah kan. It is, nak kata, to be honest, when I'm working with people, I am less happy lah. Because the kind of freedom and kind of choices that you make is not really you know what's wrong and you give an input or solution, but not necessarily you are being heard. There's when working with others, and then at the same time, because you are on somebody else's pay, so you have to listen to clinical orders and all that. But when you're working for yourself, you do have the freedom and you do answer to yourself. But the thing is, you were happy, yes, betul. Because there's more freedom, you can know everyone, you can make decisions and all that. Your ideas semua pun you boleh buat. But at the same time, there are some cons yang ni kan, when you're working with for yourself. One of the cons is that you have to think of everything. Because you are the brain behind it. So kalau buat apa pun, if say you're not making money, you're making money, suddenly, it was always like that, any business like that, making money, suddenly it becomes stagnant. The strategy that you use, dah jadi macam tepu. It becomes, what's that, saturated or flaccid. So you have to come up with ideas. And to come up with ideas is not easy. You have to try. Okay, this has run its course, its strategy, and we made a lot of money. Okay, now we're starting to drop in the graph. Okay, let's come up with new ideas. So every time you come up with new ideas, you have to test the idea. And to test that idea, you're gonna lose money. It doesn't work. You test this idea, after 2-3 months, okay, it didn't work, or the return was very low. Let's test another one. 2-3 months,
Wait,
then
wait, wait.
okay.
Yeah. Just to get back to the thought that going through in the sense of contentment versus happiness.
Oh.
Like so you are more content when you are working with yourself for yourself
No,
rather
no,
than working for others. Ke ataupun
no,
you are
no.
like,
I'm more happy when I'm working for myself, but I'm more content when working for others.
oh, okay. Because I mean, what's the separation between contentment and happiness? Yeah, I mean, in your mind, when we're talking about contentment versus happiness, where does it split? Where does like this is happiness in the past, this is contentment in the past. You know?
Ah, it goes back macam ni apa? Okay, in this concept lah, itulah macam in my experience, contentment is because I don't bring when I'm working for people, I don't bring work home with me.
Okay.
So this is like, okay, rehat is rehat time. Weekend is weekend. Spend time with my family. At night, I'm nak lepak tengok TV ke apa, whatever. When I go on holiday, especially, I don't think about work. But when I'm working for myself, holiday, I think about work. I bring work home. Weekends, I work. Because that's what business is. You always have to be on your toes.
Okay.
You have to be on alert, you have to be on your toes because opportunity will come. Opportunity knocks on your door at any time. Suddenly, oh, okay, this is a thing to make money, pop. You have to go do it. If not, you lose that opportunity, lose that money making opportunity. So, happiness, I used to be happy working all the time. That's why I put sometimes in the office. I work on weekends. Even on holidays, I used to be working and all that because I kind of like the fact that I'm busy and I'm occupied. I feel I'm being productive lah. Happiness in that sense. I feel I'm being productive even when I'm just sitting down on the beach, coming up with to get inspiration for new ideas or when my business is taking its next step towards growth and all that. Then at one point, you just realize, like I said, you're happy, but you're never content because you're always chasing though. You never actually sit down and enjoy the view of it. Like I said, when you're on holiday, you think about work. When you're at home, you think work. You're watching a movie, you're thinking about work. Watching a TV, you spend time with your family, but you're thinking about work. There's this expression kan, you're here but you're not here. Kalau you hear in movies sekarang kata the wife complains about the husband, you're here but you're not really here.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. And the thing is, you're not here because you're not content. You always say, okay, man, I can make more money, how? I can make more money ni, boleh ni, how do I make it grow lagi? Or when you're not making money lagi lah, shit, I gotta think, man, how are we gonna make money? Business is stagnant, or business is not good. Okay, I gotta come up with solution. Solution. So your brain is always active. So you're happy in that sense because you find it. You're being challenged all the time. You're being sharp all the time. You're on your toes all the time, and you're always busy lah. So you feel really useful lah. Every decision that you make is gonna have a result. And you're happy because it's like you are responsible for your actions. Every action I take will have consequences. And if the consequences becomes positive, like, oh shit, this happened because I made this decision. But again, you're not content. Okay, contentment comes, but again, do you understand or not? where I'm coming from.
Yeah. But that's one of those things like for example, when I sometimes especially when I'm working on some very long project at the office and everything, and sometimes you feel like you didn't make any progress at all. Like day in, day out, you feel like you haven't made any kind of progress at all. So it's like macam apa nama ni? You feel the job is unfulfilling. You feel like macam you just going in just for the grind, and that's one of the things that macam there's no happiness atau halal, there's no content.
Well, maybe because
So
you've
I
never
always
been
like
on
macam
the.
I always felt macam that contentment, that happiness comes from being content. So like so the versus macam how did it versus?
Again, it goes back to
But
your
yeah, when
experience,
you're
though.
talking about when you're talking about that kind of like being fixated on having more, doing more, then yeah, you will have to have apa namanya balance lah, so that
Mm.
and once you go over the balance, then that becomes sort of like um could be called a psychosis lah. Like it's always in your mind, like
And the thing is,
you can't let go.
when I talk to all my friends, all my business people, friends, and then they say the same thing.
Mm.
They say the same thing. It's like they say, "Kenapa it's never enough?" One of my friends we had a talk like this. He felt like, how come it's never enough? And he had a talk with his dad now.
Mm.
He had to see his husband father. Kenapa? Why does he work tak ada nak berhenti kerja? Because he always have enough kan. And he asked his dad for advice kan. His dad tak buat business, but his dad was working lah. But his dad was a CEO and a board of director and all that lah semua kan. So he made money from that lah. So and then what was the goal in my end goal he had punya dad kan. But dad kata there was no end goal. He just worked and then wanted to make money. And then wanted to have a good life. Tu je. So whatever I ada, he just used it wisely lah. And he learned how to make money grow without apa nak buat business ke apa. So instead of opening a business ke apa, he did a lot of investment like that. So he used money in a smart way lah, and made millions because of the investment. They got into IPOs and all that. Exactly. So and goes back to macam cakap lah kan, the contrast in terms of working with people. Like I said, it goes back to experience. If you are stuck in the same situation, you never see the other side of the fence lah, so to say. Maybe you will not understand lah. In my case, I saw both sides of the fence.
Being able to see both sides of the fence is one of those things that is very difficult to convey properly. So like for example, with my team, there's a lot of things that they do because of the framework that we've already developed. It's quite easy, right? So because it becomes very easy for them to do, they do not really appreciate how easy it is. Like so they do their work sloppily. They don't make sure all the check is there and everything. So that's one of those things like, if you were to be working on your own and you had to deliver to the customer this kind of work, you're gonna be told off, right?
Well, that's how you have to frame it to them lah. You have to frame it to them as such. Faham tak?
But that's the thing, because whenever I tell them that, like they can get the idea, but the experience that shaped us because of we might call it even trauma. Yeah.
But
But
again, it goes back to, yeah, I understand what you're saying, because they never had experience delivering to a client, a customer.
yeah,
It's just internal stakeholders instead of external stakeholders.
Yeah.
So maybe in a way you have to frame it in, if it doesn't work when you frame it in as an external stakeholder, you have to frame it in an internal stakeholder, but on a higher level. I guess once you understand that, learn to frame it, make it, put it into context, something that they can relate lah. Exactly. And if they don't understand juga, then you make it personal lah. Make it personal. Say, okay, imagine you guys nak kahwin kan, and then you nak impress your in-laws ke apa, your future in-laws ke, tapi dia tengok this is the kind of person that you are based on your work macam ni, dia kahwin kat sikit, kahwin dengan anak dia. So things like that. I mean, I've used that metaphor before a lot lah. And it works on Malays lah. Bila cerita kahwin on Malays, oh, you go. It works.
the most important thing.
And they get scared. Oh, you go. Okay. Betul, seriously, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
How I frame it in that sense. Exactly. So that's the thing. And I guess not to say macam what your point is here, like happiness comes from contentment, betul. But to be honest, contentment is being content and being happy is actually different tau sebenarnya. Maybe you're happy because you're content, but sometimes that doesn't last long. Because you're at one point you're like, aku dah content dah lama ni, takkan yang itu. Must be something wrong.
That means you don't want to be content lah.
You feel like something wrong. Ni mesti tak kena ni. Asal aku should content je ni. And they start to be paranoid and they start to become happy.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens, you know. Exactly. So again, it goes back to that. That's why it's a bit hard to put those two together, sebenarnya.
Yeah.
You kind of have to choose lah. Not to say, okay, happiness is not a negative thing. But again, you have to choose where you are, which one you want to be.
Yeah.
And some people memang suka. They're just, like I said lah, some people memang suka je buat business and they're happy, they're always busy and all that. And they're okay with that. Okay.
But yeah, probably from their business is the source of contentment. But I'm content with busy.
Nobody's content with busy because they have personal lives. Mantap. Kalau they content, then they like take a step back lah. Okay, I don't have to mingle in my business all the time. I can just sit back and I give you a good example lah, the MCO kan. So in masa MCO was the first one happened to COVID though. So contentment and happiness lah. So there was a hikmah lah, reason why I stopped doing business in November 2019. Because by the time the MCO came in March and April, the company yang I used to run wasn't operating anymore. So they weren't making any money for 3 months. But alhamdulillah, the company that I worked for, I was still getting paid. And on top of that, I still had savings. I still had savings because I was making more money than before. Exactly. So that became, for the first time in my life, this is the first time in my adult life working like that, I was at a place where I had money and I had time. It was always either one tau. Aku ada time, tapi I had no money. Or if I had money, I had no time to spend it. But that MCO, for that 3 months though, I actually had money and I had time because I didn't have to work. So that's why when people ask kan, I wish MCO was back kejap. Even for like 2 weeks. Because that was the first time in my life I was like, ish, I don't have to work lah. You know, I could just relax and then not worry about anything. And I still had money. Ada rezeki kan. So it was the first time in my life macam I really took a deep breath, took a really good break. Really, really good break. And even though money wasn't enough, tak banyak sebab kena furlough and all that, tapi still, I survived. I had money to, nak kata nak hidup mewah tak ada. Sebab tak nak hidup mewah pun kau boleh pergi mana pun. You kena go on holidays ke, nak pergi makan hotel ke whatever. But you had money to survive and just, that was like content and happiness. But it was more content lah. It was more content. So it's like, just content because I have money and I have time. I get to do whatever I want. Within the compound. That was life changing. That experience. Like,
Do you think you like the balance between contentment and happiness should change throughout the lifestyle, the throughout the life of a person? Like they should be more inclined towards one when they are younger and then move towards another when they are older, or
I think it's natural. When you're younger, you always want happiness. Yeah, it's natural. It's not like you have a choice. That's why, especially nowadays, kan, the happiness trigger tu lagi mungkin kuat. I think that's why you do have a lot of younger people have mental health problems. Aku perasan. Because they forgot about being content and they just wanted to be happy. And all the things that we have in this world nowadays, happiness is not that hard to attain. You know, it's really not that hard to attain compared to when we were younger lah. I mean, when we were younger, happiness was playing out, main games, you know, doing activities. I don't think content was even a word when we were younger. That's why we always wanted to go out, play to the playground, play around, you could game and all that. We just wanted to enjoy it. We didn't understand contentment of you know, unless we complain to our parents about something, oh, syukur je lah, whatever you have. That was the only thing, and there wasn't my choice, you know. Whatever you had, that was it lah, you know. For example, if you given a bike, then you didn't care whether cheap bike or the features wasn't that much, because you didn't know out there was actually a better choice coming, or even if you knew, you didn't care. Or when you got shoes, you didn't care what's expensive shoes. You just say, okay, I shoes, okay. Nowadays, you know, oh, it has to be the best. Even smartphone, you know, kids complain because they got a crappy smartphone. You know, oh, this is not, you know, a good smartphone. This is like, you know, 5 years old new technology and all that. Or I get an iPad, wala, the iPad tak bestnya, you know, tak full screen, bezel besar lah, I know, iPad chip slow and things like that. I know things aku nampak kan. Exactly.
But that's the thing. One of the things that when you're talking about being young and then looking for happiness, because one of the things that Jordan Peterson says is don't chase happiness, but chase meaning. You know, you always have to be, because when you are chasing meaning fully, you are fully committed to something, and then from there, you can feel happiness. But if you are chasing happiness, it's always very fleeting. It's always very, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Not worthwhile.
Because happiness doesn't last long, and then you have to look for the next fix.
Yeah.
The next fix. Exactly. I didn't know Jordan Peterson said that when I came up with this topic, but it's something that I realized, like I said, as you approach 40 and all that, it's kind of a question that is debatable, and I got opinions on.
People especially talk about, like, for example, big life changes. Like, for example, if you had an option to change jobs, for example, you've been with a certain company for, maybe 10, 15 years, and then suddenly, there's an opportunity at someplace else. You don't know how it's going to turn out. At the previous one, you maybe already, you are very comfortable.
Well, that's the danger of
way.
that now.
Ah.
Well, because that's not contentment. I think that's just comfort zone.
Okay.
That goes to where you are afraid of risk and challenges. Jadi comfort zone kan. So you kind of scared. That's this lah apa. Living in a bubble lah, I guess. I would akin that to that lah. That's like you're living in a bubble, this kind of bubble lah. You feel safe in this bubble. And you're like, what if I get out of this bubble? And then, I could die, There could be a dangers out there, I don't know.
Yeah. There be dragons.
Yeah, exactly. But again, goes back to me, like, I've been in that situation also. Living in that bubble, I was at company yang aku dengan Farid dulu kan. Farid work longer, about 9 years. I was there about 7 years plus. And we had the same kind of anxiety lah because Farid left before me. And I left about 1 year plus later. So when I left, it was like really macam, it was scary though. You can imagine for nearly 8 years working in a company, this is all you know though. You've never seen the real world, so to say kan.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what's going to happen to me? So nak make the decision, I was crying for a month.
Oh.
No, seriously. I'm just telling you my experience. I was crying for like a month, like, shit, I'm probably gonna die, or people don't gonna, I'm probably not gonna get a good job. I'm not gonna, but then, and I took the courage because I got another opportunity. And even that I wasn't secure, but at least with something. But the most important thing I thought, I just had to grow. I was like, I got to see the world. I've been in this company now many years. Yeah. And it was a big leap. Like I said, that's why I got emotional and I was crying for my decision. And then when I told my boss, I just broke down in tears and all that. And the first aku berhenti tu, kata tak adalah. And that's the thing though, when the first day after I left, it was kind of like this relief. I don't know why, macam like relief sangat. Macam like a burden, macam like lifted. And the next 3 days,
all the shackles of the baggage before.
Yeah, betul. Like shackles the baggage before, and then just like this cloudy, that dark cloud hanging. And the next 3 days, there's a funny thing. The next 3 days, it's like my mind suddenly expanded now. I was starting to have memories of my life before working in that company. It's like this started flooding in now. Shit, I've been suppressing a lot of things because I was living in a bubble lah. And the next 2 weeks, I had the best sleep of my life in 8 years. There's no joke, but it's true. But when I talk to others, who had the same experience as me, everybody had the same story, though. I thought it was like my experience was unique. Then everybody went through the same phase. They said, they had the best sleep. They had memang tiba-tiba they became smarter. There was no longer a cloud, and they became more open-minded. And alhamdulillah, betul, and it's true. So macam you became more open-minded and you became more receptive, and you became less scared of what's out there because you dah step out of the bubble and you saw the real world. And the truth is, there's so many things, so many opportunities, so many things out there in the real world.
Yep.
And you've heard about new things that you didn't even know existed before. Because you've been in the bubble so long, kan? So bila aku keluar tu, shit, I didn't know about this. Macam digital marketing and all. This is a big example. Pasal digital marketing and all that. I didn't know digital marketing was so big. All I know was about sales. Yeah. Talking to people that is, I know you can actually be smarter and use social media and digital marketing with the same effort and make 5 times more than what I was making by knocking on people's door and approaching strangers. So I thought, shit. Well, if I knew this and I used my resources to learn this skill, I would have been more richer if I gotten out earlier from the company. So these are kind of nuggets lah. Banyak gila lah. I'm just one example that is relatable lah. But there's a lot of things like that. That changed like how I viewed things, and it made me like, glad I got out. And I got out. Maybe it was a bit too late, so I could have gotten new skills and I could have gotten more about the working landscape. But it had to happen somewhere. That is Allah's way of showing me the path at that time. Even though I thought I would have gotten earlier, but there's a reason why I got it at that time, and there's a reason why Allah showed me that time to move my heart to take the big leap. Exactly. And when I talk to all those people who work at the same company and they left also, alhamdulillah, surprisingly, if I read and all that, all of them became a lot more successful after we left that company. Where in that company we were like normal and we were treated like normal or less than normal. But when we got out, everybody became super successful. So again, because we were in that bubble, we've been conditioned, we were in that bubble, and we limited ourselves. So once we get out of that shell and the bubble, we had no limitations. We just became our genuine self.
Need to have the courage to begin the change.
You see, that's the thing though. It's not actually to begin change now. When like I said, when organization is not about not begin change. I just thought, you know what? I have to get out today. Not because I wanted to change. I just had to get out lah. Change and for example, kalau katalah people want to escape. Katalah people who've been locked in a basement for 7 years. But they not escape. Not because they want to change, because they not escape je. I want to live, I want to live. I don't want to live in the basement anymore. I want to see the world, I want to live. Bukan nak change. Not because they wanted to go through some changes. The change automatically comes because they came out of the bubble. They overcame the barriers. They knocked down all the walls around them. And that created opportunities to come now. Because there's no longer shields or barriers. Where before the shield nak datang wall, the block, you put a wall or bubble around it. So you tear it down, you become more receptive towards change and all that. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not just my story. So many other people's story had the same experience. Itulah.
Be content is one of those things that is that is essentially it's a gift from God lah. It's like not sometimes you can be already a millionaire and it's still not enough. But at the same time, sometimes people can be deep in debt and don't have any material things anymore, but they still happy. I remember there was one time, I don't remember exactly what, but at the time I was feeling quite depressed and sad because of my money situation lah. And So even though I have a high salary, but I don't actually have any money to spend, and it creates sort of like a uh, somewhat of a resentment kind of thing. Uh, and then one of the things that I think at the time I was trying to cheer myself up or something. So I went to KFC. And then KFC, the guy at the counter, while he was, asking me what I want to order and preparing my order, and he was singing to himself. He was doing a little bit of that. Like in my mind, like, what right do you have to be happy working? I, I don't know how many hundred only you are earning at KFC. Macam, that is like the guy was content. So compared to me, that was earning probably 10 times more than him. I mean, I'm miserable.
Yeah, again, that's why it goes back to choice. Yeah. You have to choose to be content. You have to choose to be content. I think that's where things start to change now. You send this energy of contentment and things just work out, I guess. No, it's true. I mean, I can't kata apa? I can't stress enough when I tell people stories kan. You just have to imagine in 3 years I lost my job twice. My wife doesn't have my wife ada income and I was a sole breadwinner from the family. But somehow we never had any problems to live. You know what? And we were always happy. We always had enough. Tak ada orang kena bulur ke apa ke. Even before, I'm talking about the whole MCO and all that. I got retrenched twice. I've never been retrenched ever in my life. Nah. And it happened twice, I think 3 years. And then on top of that, and then that's a funny thing. We were harder, lagi susah. My life was when I ran my own business daripada masa aku MCO. You can imagine masa there was one point before I quit my company, just a few months before. For 3 months, we didn't have gas masak dapur. So we cooked using our pressure cooker dengan rice cooker je. 3 months. Tak ada gas. I couldn't afford gas. My wife's punya road tax that expired for 4 months. Tahun hari ni. And then my internet, 2 months aku bayar tapi tak, I couldn't pay for 2 months. There was no internet in my house. But I thought, like I said, we had to be content and found a way to survive. One is like some macam pasang pressure cooker, rice cooker. Tak ada internet, aku download movies from the office, and then we watch. You come home and then watch. That was my entertainment and all that kan. And all that lah. Tapi that's the thing lah. And then like I said, I was like, okay, aku berhenti kerja, and then MCO, which is supposed to be even worse. Alhamdulillah lah. We just chose to be content. Actually, we had a harder time before the MCO and then during the MCO. Exactly. So it goes back to how you choose to how you choose to feel, how you choose to think. The thing is, jangan fikir banyak sangat lah. This is my experience. Don't think too much. Just like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'm just happy, or I'm just content. Wherever I am, whatever I have. And you can't compare yourself to others. Other people will always have more money than you, or more successful than you, might, have more things than you. But that's their life. You have your own life, guys. What you make of it lah. End of the day. It's one of the reasons is because kan ada topik yang cakap kan books that change your life ada kan. I read this book, How Starbucks Changed My Life. I don't know if I told you guys about it. It's not by the it's not by Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks. It's actually by this old guy who lost everything and had to work in a Starbucks lah. He was already 50 and he had to start and he was a successful executive before, living in a big mansion, he had 5 kids, he had a wife and everything small, but he lost it all. Okay, now he was living in an attic with little money and he had to work in Starbucks. Tak ada choice lah. Guy his age dah tak dapat kerja kat corporate world and everything. And at first it was near kan, miserable, susah and all that. And after a while he became content lah. So in that book he told about his life story lah kan. And that's what got me thinking tau. When I read his book kan, this was before I got married. No, I just got married at that time. So when I read this book, I thought, when you think about it then, his life and my life is actually the same now. But it's reversed. And that's got me thinking about qadar and qadar and all this fates. And maybe our life is fixed in terms of what happens to us, but the path is not fixed. Okay, so macam katalah my life. Kata, you know, from aku single until I was 37 and I got married. And I had the whole family and success and blah, 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 blah. His life, he got married at 25, had a family, successful, blah, 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 blah. Suddenly at 50 something, he was single, bujang, and then his life was normal. So if you flip it, it's actually the same. So it got me thinking, I guess it goes back to whatever you have now. Don't complain or don't worry that it will remain the same. So I don't think, how is my life gonna be? Aku dah at time kan takkan kahwin lagi, and you know, I was making money pun macam biasa je, business pun asyik kepala and all that. But later did I know, like 3 years later, things would change. Take a big drastic change and I got married and then things changed and all that. So it goes back to that. Some people, just because you think you dah kahwin and everything, or you're gonna be like that forever, for example. You don't know. You're rich and it's gonna be like that forever. Suddenly things change. It happens all the time. And just because you're poor for 20 years doesn't mean you want to be poor for the next 20 years. It could be, you know, suddenly the next 20 years you're filthy rich. So, you know, it's just terbalik je. The path is the same. So you have to decide. Do you want to be susah dulu and then senang kemudian, or you will senang kemudian and susah later? That's fate. Exactly. So that book kind of got me thinking, and you know, how actually me and his life was actually the same. It's just the path tu terbalik je. Exactly.
Okay lah, Mai. I think been an hour already. Daripada segi this podcast, I think we'll cut it off here lah. But there is something that I want to just borak with you about. Okay, so thanks for our viewers.